France, without the support of Francophone Africa, would be an emerging economy, as Keith put it. Okay, because they wouldn't have access to any of those raw materials, spices, everything. France on its own without Africa is a third world nation. You have to aim for dynastic wealth. Generational wealth is not going to put you on top. Dynastic wealth is. Europe, I'm hard on Europeans. I'm not going to lie, because the world has been recast in the European light when it shouldn't. If you take history, right, Europe has not run the world for the majority of the time. But, recently it's been Europe's turn. Europe is the smallest heavily populated continent in the world. If you take a look at most maps and it's sold in the US, Europe looks a lot bigger than it does if you go up in space and take a picture. Why is that? Because Europeans are giving an unrealistic view of the world. When a lot of people want to go and travel, everybody from the States wants to go to Europe. Africa is bigger, much more diversity. Asia is bigger, much more diversity. Europe's diversity is not that diverse. It seems diverse going from the UK to France to Germany to Italy, but go to other nations and go from one side of the continent to another, it looks like a totally different world.
Yeah.
Sounds and feels, it smells like it as well. These are not good or bad things. These are just factoids, information. Yeah. Okay, so when a Eurocentric way of looking at things is not a realistic way of looking at things. Okay, you don't have the most people, you don't have the largest economy, you don't even have the largest military, you don't have the most diversity. You did have a very, very colonialist, imperialist way of conducting life and business, which enabled you to spread Europe-centric ways around the world, which is why English
like
is
the way you put that, Reggie.
Excuse me.
I like the way you put that.
Yeah, no, I'm picking my words. I'm trying to choose them. America, which has the largest military and the largest economy, speaks English because of England. Okay. Francophone Africa, they speak French because of France. France, without the support of Francophone Africa, would be an emerging economy, as Keith put it. Okay, because they wouldn't have access to any of those raw materials, spices, everything. France on its own without Africa is a third world nation.
Absolutely.
Okay, and it's not just me; its own president said that, and it's a fact. But you can't go by ifs. If grandma had a beard and a mustache, she'd be grandpa. So, you can't do ifs. But that's the way it is right now. So when you look at things, you have to look at things from a realistic perspective and not the way it's pushed upon you. Eurocentric thinking is pushed upon almost all Europeans and many Americans as well. And when I say Eurocentric, it's either descendants, a Euro diaspora, or American, and I'm an American, I'm an African American. When you say Black, you can get into differentiations, right? I'm a Black man that's a descendant of slaves in America. Very different from a Black man who came over 2 or 3 generations ago and their families didn't have to go through what my family's went through. Okay, very different experience. I'm not differentiating, we're brothers, and I have brothers and sisters all over the place. I am by far not racist. As a matter of fact, I couldn't be a racist. The reason is because I and people in my demographic don't have socioeconomic control over the resources. So we can discriminate against others, we could be prejudiced, but we can't control them as of yet. Yet another demographic, if they discriminate and they're prejudiced against me and my demographic, they can literally control. That's the difference between racism and prejudice. Okay? If you can control and you're prejudiced against a race, then you're racist. If I am prejudiced against a race, I'm just prejudiced. I could discriminate. Even if I alone as an individual, have significant power and authority. My demographic does not. And I could go on and on and on and on. Race doesn't exist scientifically. I have yet to meet anybody who could prove it. You simply cannot. There's actually more biological diversity within what people consider the Black race than it is between me and someone considered white. But just because race doesn't exist scientifically, racism exists in reality and scientifically and can easily be proven. So I could go down this rabbit hole. A lot of people bark and disagree, but if you're going to bark and disagree, come with facts. That keeps it much more sound because we don't do facts. We do opinions, you know? Race doesn't exist scientifically. I have yet to meet anybody who could prove it. You simply cannot.